And we are back. Welcome back to the penultimate day now of the round of 16 for the Asian Cup and African Cup of Nations. It is, of course, actually the final day of the round of 16 in the African Cup of Nations. And, well, yesterday I asked for drama where I didn't think there would be much, but boy, oh boy, did we get it. Firstly, Iraq in a 2-1 position, their main man, Hussein, getting the would-be winner, then getting sent off for his celebrations, leaving his side completely open with 10 men, and then 2 goals in added time, and Iraq are out. What an unbelievable game that was. Qatar then, to be fair, just easily dispatched their opponents as predicted. Then in Africa, the games were absolutely incredible. Mauritania going toe-to-toe all the way with Cape Verde, and an 88th minute penalty, which was a penalty, stealing that one, but that was probably the most energetic game I've seen so far, probably this year. And then finally, I said it, Senegal and Ivory Coast, after what was a shambolic group for Ivory Coast, it would be typical football for them to turn up from a third place spot in their group, to then turn over group winners and defending champions Senegal, and they took them to penalties and they got the job done. So fair play to Ivory Coast themselves and Qatar, both host nations, making it into their respective quarterfinals. But let's hope that amount of drama can continue today, because, like I say, yesterday was a lot more dramatic than I thought it ever would be. But that is the joy, as I always say, about doing these predictions videos. You just don't know what's going to happen, and I have to try my best to predict it for you guys. But as ever with football, you just don't truly know. But before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you're new around here. We'll, of course, be back tomorrow morning for those final 2 Asian Cup predictions. But like I say, for today, there are 4 more fixtures on your screen right now, and let's talk about them immediately. And we start off with the early game in Qatar, and that is between Uzbekistan and Thailand. 2 sides that, again, haven't quite reached the sort of standard I would have expected, especially from Uzbekistan's side. 2 draws for them in a group that they probably should have been getting at least 2 wins in. Thailand, however, have done well, but haven't really scored that much. So, with that said, I think this should be an Uzbekistan win. But like I say, you just don't truly know, because they haven't reached the heights you'd expect from the level of Uzbekistan that we've seen in the run-up to this tournament. I am personally going to go for a 2-0 win to Uzbekistan. So, Rachel, if you are watching, I'm sorry, your boys are not going to be doing it today, in my opinion. But again, I think 2-0 is a fair result for this one, considering how these 2 sides have played. Next up is a very, very, very interesting one. Saudi Arabia taking on South Korea. Now, I thought South Korea would be one of 2 sides that would run away with this entire tournament, and so far they have been incredibly poor, winning their opening game against the worst team in their group and then drawing the other 2, which has put them in this position as a second place team, which is why they're playing against group winners in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, of course, won their 2 opening games, guaranteeing them top spot in their group, and then rested key players for that final game that ended in a draw. So going into this game, I think Saudi Arabia are probably considered to be the most informed side, and I don't want to sit here and say they're the favourites for this game, because obviously on paper South Korea are going to be the favourites for this game, but I don't know, man. I'm not confident in South Korea for this game at all. If you'd have given me this fixture 2 weeks ago before this tournament started, I'd have said probably 2 or 3-1 to South Korea. I sit here right now and I think it could be 2 or 3-1 to Saudi Arabia, but I'm going to bottle it and I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. And I think this could go all the way. Honestly, if you put a gun to my head right now, I would say Saudi Arabia win this match. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in 90 minutes, with Saudi Arabia taking it either in extra time or penalties. But watch this space. This could be game of the day. From there, then, we move over back to the Ivory Coast and the African Cup of Nations once again. And we start off with the game between Mali and Burkina Faso. A really, really tough one to call once again. Both of these sides, in my opinion, again, slightly underperforming. I don't want to say massively underperforming, but I would expect both of these sides to put up better results than what they've done so far in this tournament. And the important thing, really, about why this is such a tough prediction is because neither of these sides have really scored that many goals so far in this tournament. Burkina Faso, especially, I would have expected more goals from, but it just makes it a really tough one to call. I could easily see this being a game that is literally decided by 1 goal, be it 1-0 to Mali or 1-0 to Burkina Faso. However, I also think that both sides will score. So, again, for the second fixture in a row, I'm going to slightly bottle it and go for a 1-1 draw, but this, to me, has penalties written all over it. This just has the look of a game that will just be scrappy all game long. And like I say, one team might nick it. It could even be a 0-0, but I can see this going all the way through to penalties. And if you ask me right now, I would probably say Mali take it in extra time or penalties, but we shall see. Finally, we have Morocco against South Africa. And to be honest, this should be a game that's pretty easy to predict because everyone would expect Morocco to win this game. However, these two sides were in the same qualification group and both fixtures ended in 2-1 to the side that played at home. So very recently, South Africa have beaten Morocco in this tournament. But now we're in the actual main thing rather than overall qualifying. I think I still have to stick with my instinct. Yes, Morocco haven't been, again, at their absolute best so far. South Africa have had a couple of good results, but have one poor result. I think Morocco should be coming out on top, as I say, especially in a neutral venue. I'm going to go for 3-1 to Morocco. And that will be it for today. Like I say, it's a tough set of fixtures. I think there is potential for upset in the two games that I have gone for as comfortable wins. And like I say, those two games in the middle, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Mali and Burkina Faso, really could throw up some good entertainment today. But let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below as always. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you tomorrow morning for those final games in the Asian Cup.